Welcome to Sports Show on TSM. I'm Michael Carvelis. On this edition, we've got everything from LeBron James's comments about Ray Allen, all the way to college football at its best, plus overrated quarterbacks in the NFL and college. Which ones make my overrated list and which ones don't? Find out now. Sports Show. Let's go. And with that, welcome to Sports Show. I am Michael Carvelis. It is October 17th, 2013 at about 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Alright, so first off, let's go ahead and talk about the Rob Gronkowski injury. Rob Gronkowski has not played for 6 weeks, the opening 6 weeks this season. The question is, should he play and when will he play? I never have liked Rob Gronkowski. I think he's alright, but I just don't see what the big deal about him is because Patriots are doing just fine without him. He does propose a big threat in the passing game, but I think he should play because personally I think he's being a little bit babyish. I mean, his teammates are getting really mad at him, and it's kind of sad because they're being asked about the GRONK injury so much, and he had like 5 games of fame. And now it's like everybody thinks he's a god, and so they always have to ask about him. Personally, I think he should play just to shut everybody up, and more importantly, get his teammates out of that little zone that they've gotten themselves into, that little distraction that they have. And also, I think, when will he play? I think he should play probably next week. I think week 7 is just too early for him. I just don't see him playing. And if he does play, I just don't see him being that big part of an offense. But we'll see what happens as Tom Brady will obviously target him whenever he comes back. Thursday Night Football is tonight. Seahawks taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Last time the Seahawks and Cardinals met, it was 58-0, a.k.a. 7 touchdowns and 3 field goals for the Seahawks and absolutely nothing for the Arizona Cardinals. Now tonight, I've been told that the Cardinals, well, first of all, their quarterback Carson Palmer is meeting up against Seahawks coach Pete Carroll ever since they were at USC eons ago. But also, the Cardinals, their run game has not been working, and plus, Carson Palmer has not been throwing the ball very effectively. That's right, we're talking 9 interceptions within the past 4 games of football this season. Cardinals aren't doing well anyways. Seahawks are going to run away with that division. But the question is, what kind of chance do the Cardinals have? I give them about a 5% chance. If you'll go back to my sports show episode number 1, you'll see my prediction for that game. And you'll see how bad I have the Seahawks winning that game. And this is before I found out about this is before I was reminded about a 58-0 game. But I think the Seahawks will run all over the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals will score a field goal, maybe, a touchdown. I just don't see the Cardinals getting close in this one at all. But anyways, guys, it's tonight, Thursday Night Football with Brad Nessler and Mike Mayock on NFL Network. LeBron James's comments. If you remember, Ray Allen left the Boston Celtics in free agency to go join the Miami Heat. It wasn't as ugly as LeBron leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers, but it was pretty ugly. Paul Pierce said that Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett just couldn't believe that he left. They weren't very happy with him. And then all of a sudden, this offseason, not only did Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett get traded to the Nets, also, Doc Rivers goes to the Nets, and I've been told that they wanted to go to the Nets, and they left Rajon Rondo, a friend that they have made so well, and now they've left him in Boston, and that led LeBron James to make the comments about how he thinks that he is expletive annoyed about that, and he just wishes that they would just shut their mouths. And by the way, guys, tonight, Nets take on the Miami Heat. I think the Miami Heat will perform pretty well in that game. I think Chris Bosh is performing well. I'm not a believer in the Nets this season, and that leads me to my next portion. Why should you believe me about me not believing in the Nets this season? Well, 3 years ago, I said the Texans are awful. I didn't like the Texans. The only reason that they were considered good is because Peyton Manning had left the Colts, and so Colts couldn't contend with them anymore. Well, guess what? They got into the playoffs. They haven't been able to do anything once again. Matt Schaub has been awful. The team has been just a bunch of crybabies if you look at J.J. Watt. I'm telling you what, guys, I don't like J.J. Watt. I don't like Matt Schaub. Me and Stephen A. Smith think Matt Schaub is a joke. But the thing is I've said that the Texans are bad, and guess what? They're 2-4 this year. Granted, they could improve their record, but guys, the Colts are in first place in that division. Even the Tennessee Titans are ahead of the Texans in that division by 1 game. I cannot believe that. Texans need to get their butts turned around. I think the Texans will beat the Chiefs mostly because I don't believe in the Chiefs. I do believe in Alex Smith over Colin Kaepernick, who I also said Colin Kaepernick wasn't doing too well, and I didn't like him, and Colin Kaepernick isn't doing well right now. So I predicted a lot of things in the NFL, and now the next thing, RG3 disappointment. 2 years ago when RG3 came into the league, you and I said, actually 1 year ago, I was like, I don't like RG3. He's another overrated running quarterback. The thing is that there are a lot of good running quarterbacks. I mean, even Andrew Luck of my Indianapolis Colts is a running quarterback, but he throws the ball first. RG3 has to get his knee blown out just to show you that he is a running quarterback. I mean, the guy is not explosive at all anymore. I don't care what you say. Redskins and Colts have about the same football teams, so don't you dare say about the Colts having this supporting cast around Andrew Luck. Okay, yeah, Reggie Wayne, thank you so much for that, because according to what I see, the Redskins have Alfred Morris at running back, who they can get the ball to on play action, and they also have Pierre Garçon, who was molded by the Indianapolis Colts themselves. I'm telling you what, guys, I do not believe in RG3, and you probably shouldn't either, because there's a reason why Andrew Luck went above RG3, and Andrew Luck has been a lot better, which is what I said from the get-go of last year's draft. Next up is the Broncos-Colts game. Jim Irsay, I mentioned it on Sports Show episode number 1. You can check that back out. I think Jim Irsay is just playing around. Granted, of course, Jim Irsay is defending himself this morning and yesterday, saying, I didn't mean that, I just think that we weren't going in the right direction, blah, blah, blah. He's saying that to get his team fired up. And like Todd Helton, one of Peyton Manning's former teammates at Tennessee in 1994 said, he said that the guy's just running his mouth. He knows that his team is going to lose, and he's just fueling Peyton Manning. He knows that Colts are going to lose this game. You could say, I never thought the Colts would beat the 49ers and Seahawks, but they did, and I was surprised. I just don't think the Colts can do it against the Broncos. I think the Broncos are too darn good, and Jim Irsay is, like I said, is trying to get his team fired up. Next up, are the Falcons done for the year? I have to say yes. I'm telling you what, guys, I live in Georgia. Every single Georgia team I've ever seen is overrated. Look at this. The Atlanta Hawks, they've had their shine in the NBA, but nothing big. I never liked them, and they suck. Atlanta Falcons always get to the playoffs, can never do anything great. I mean, we're always talking about how great they are, how great Matt Ryan is. I believe in Matt Ryan. I just don't believe in the Falcons organization. I just don't see it. The Atlanta Braves, they were the best team in the NL this season. All of a sudden started collapsing. They lost to the Dodgers, and that was it for them. And then, of course, the Georgia Bulldogs, who I used to like, and then I realized I was on a little bandwagon here in Georgia. And now I like the LSU Tigers because I like teams that like to prove themselves and don't just run their mouth. Georgia Bulldogs have one of the most overrated quarterbacks in Aaron Murray. But the Falcons right now, anybody who said the Falcons were going to do well this season, okay, that's great, but can they do well in the postseason? The only reason the Saints are going to win this division this year, who I also don't like, is because the Saints no longer have anybody to contend with. Falcons are going to lose to the Saints because they no longer have Roddy Wright or Julio Jones because Julio Jones is done for the season, and Steven Jackson just keeps on getting injured. So I think the Falcons are done. Will they get to the playoffs? By God, I think they will. I mean, there's only like 5 teams in the NFC who can contend this season that we know will contend. Falcons may be one of them, but they may just barely get in, and they will be right out. Also, Jimmy Johnson, is he going to win another championship this season? I'm telling you what, I don't like the guy. I think he cheats. He's been caught for cheating before. And my favorite driver, Jeff Gordon, got him in the race, stupid bastard. Just playing. Congratulations to Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson looks pretty dominant this season. You can argue about Matt Kenseth. I'm telling you what, guys. I've never thought Matt Kenseth was a good driver. Granted, in NASCAR, it's all about how much money you put in to that car. Because Jimmy Johnson, if he would drive a car like on one of those bad teams, like the number 34 of David Reagan, I forgot who that team is. If he would drive a car for them, he would suck. If David Reagan drove the number 48 car, David Reagan would be winning the championships. But I'm telling you what, guys, it looks like number 48 is going to get the championship again this year. That's why I say 48 again, yes. Also, Florida State Clemson. Battle of two great quarterbacks, according to ESPN. Taj Boyd against a guy who I keep on forgetting the name of. I think Clemson will pull out the victory in this one. I don't like Taj Boyd. Of course, Clemson did beat Georgia, and I honestly didn't think that Georgia was going to lose that game, but I also didn't think they were going to lose the Missouri game either. But Clemson against Florida State, a big battle. I think Clemson gets the job done at home, but I still think Alabama is number one. Now that gets me to my next part of the show. I touched on this earlier. Is Aaron Murray of the Georgia Bulldogs good? Okay, he's another one of them young quarterbacks. I don't think he is at all. He had one game. I don't even know. He must have been on steroids in that LSU Tigers game because I don't know how he did it, but he somehow found a way to get them the win. I said the same thing about Tim Tebow, sorry. And look where Tim Tebow's at. Aaron Murray, when he throws the ball, he overthrows the screenplays. He cannot get any accuracy under his passes whatsoever. And like I said, you can take out my LSU Tiger game. I'm happy for the guy that he got the win. But they've lost to Missouri and they've lost to Clemson. Where did that come from? The Clemson game, everybody was healthy. But no, they had to lose that game. Why? Because Aaron Murray sucked under the big pressure. The stats even show Aaron Murray is not a good quarterback, especially under pressure. Like I said, besides the LSU game, Aaron Murray is not going to be a very good quarterback. And I remember, like I said, it's the same thing about Tim Tebow, and Tim Tebow was not very good, and I was right about that one. He is on his way to the Canadian Football League. Next up, my final topic is Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel, I think he's all right. I think the guy has a great arm. Do I think he's a franchise quarterback? Maybe. I still haven't decided on that one. I think he's better than A.J. McCarron of the Alabama Crimson Tide. A.J. McCarron's in the same boat as Aaron Murray. If it wasn't for A.J. McCarron's great defense and running game, then I think he would be absolutely nothing. But Johnny Manziel has performed very well. Last year, you know what? Who had Texas A&M beating Alabama? Nobody. That's why Johnny Football won the Heisman. This year, I thought, okay, in Texas, I don't care. I think Texas A&M loses the game by a lot. They almost won that game, and I was very impressed with Johnny Football. I think Johnny Manziel is becoming close to a franchise quarterback, but I think once he gets his off-season issues managed and he goes back to the great Johnny Football on the field as is off the field, I think he will do just fine. And anyways, guys, that is Sports Show. Hope you guys enjoyed my criticism today. But guys, that is all for TSM. See you guys later.